I'm here with my buddy Steve Barry, who I've known for, what do we figure, 13 years now, Steve?
At least 13.
Yeah, we started hanging out at the, back in the day at the Phoenix Boat and Sportsman Show, and Steve and I fished up there on some, Steve was gracious enough to take me fishing on some of the carp lakes up in the valley and whatnot, and since then, Steve has retired from the Mesa Police Department and has a new little fly fishing gig going on called Nomada Fly-Fishing, which is a travel agency. I'll let Steve talk about it.
So, hey, thanks for having me out on the boat today. Good to be here and get in some fishing again down in southern Arizona, a place I've never been, even though I've lived here all my life. But yeah, Nomada Fly-Fishing is a little business venture me and a friend of mine started about a year ago, and we are a destination fly fishing travel company. We put together trips for individuals and groups to go to some of the better fly fishing spots, certainly in the States and around the world, you know, out to California or Montana or Idaho or places as far away as Brazil. We've got trips to for peacock bass and things of that nature.
Nice, nice. And that's, I know during this COVID-19 thing, things are slow for everybody in the fly fishing industry, Steve, and I guess you're no different, but it's actually kind of an opportunity, isn't it, for like guys like you and me from the outfitting end of things to get with guys like you that are in the booking destination things and sort of chew the fat and see how we're going to move forward.
Absolutely. You know, if you've got to make something good out of a bad situation, and COVID's not any fun for anyone out there, but what it's done is it's given us an opportunity to work on the infrastructure of the company, and like you said, to get out on days like this, to talk to the outfitters, to talk to the lodges about moving forward when things start coming back. What trips we're going to put together and how we can work together to start building a strong fly fishing industry again.
So we were talking earlier about your involvement with the in the fly fishing industry in Phoenix. So you're obviously no stranger to the ins and outs of fly fishing in Arizona and the fly fishing industry in Arizona. So what do you think about fishing in Arizona these days?
Fishing in Arizona is a hidden gem, and I'll say that for a lot of people who are not familiar with Arizona. The terrain here is so diverse. You've got lower elevation lakes like this for your warm water species, or you can go up into some of our mountain areas where we've got streams and lakes and rivers, and you can fish for miles and miles of area that's, you know, 6, 7, 8,000 feet in elevation. Just nice, clear, cold water with big trout.
Nice. Yeah, this is kind of unique. We're in the we were joking in the parking lot. I mentioned to Steve that this is the only drift boat, and it's confirmed, within 20 miles of the U.S.-Mexican border. So this is pretty cool. And right now, this lake we're at is probably 15 miles as the crow flies from the border. So yeah, it's a real, like, I'm just, obviously, Steve, you're born and raised in Arizona. I'm just kind of a newbie, having lived here for 13 years. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here. And while all this pandemic stuff is going on, there's nothing better than getting out and fishing local.
You've got to do something. You can only tie so many flies and make so many phone calls. And as things are now finally starting to ramp back up, some of the country is starting to open up. You know, we've gone back to a little bit of our marketing and booking trips again. The end of this month, we have a trip going out to Wyoming. And then early next month, we've got one going to Montana. So it's good to see that the country is coming out of this strong. Hopefully the economy will bounce back pretty quickly and people can get their livelihoods back and take care of their families and then get back to some enjoyment and things like fly fishing, which keep us all a little bit more sane.
So speaking about fly fishing, you've been throwing some really cool bugs that I'm drooling over. Let's, what's the story on these? We had that one bluegill.
So the fly that I'm throwing here, it's called a JR minnow. The JR is for John Romer, who is an Arizonan that lives here. If anyone's familiar with the material called semi-seal or any of its cousins, this is diamond hair, diamond braid, semi-seal. He's got a whole different line of fantastic synthetic materials in all different colors. And this fly here, again, it's tied on a little saltwater hook. And that thing, when it gets in the water and it starts glistening and moving around, it looks just like the bait fish. And those bass and panfish really love to jump on it. we even do pretty good on them up in the White Mountains in some places, throwing them for the big browns.
Nice, nice. Well, that's great, Steve. Well, we'll get back to fishing, folks. And Steve Berry, thank you very much for coming out and spending the day with me here.
Thanks for having me down.
No problem.